Cards, final game of the season. Bit of a strange one because for half an hour it was a really good contest. A pretty entertaining game, to be honest, and then it all changed.
Yeah, it was. It started lively. Both teams hitting the woodwork. AJ's put a great ball in. It was a good move. Great ball in. The keeper's made a good save, and same at the other end with their lads strike from about 25 yards. I thought it was end to end. I didn't think the ref helped matters though. I thought there was a lot of needless fouls. It's a contact sport, but there seemed to be the slightest of contact, and more often than not, it was against us. And then obviously it spilt over. I didn't see what happened. I didn't think it was a foul by Jay in the first place, and then it's obviously spilt over. I didn't see what Murph's supposed to have done. He said his head went, so I'm assuming he was rightfully sent off for saying that. And when you come in at half time, you've frustrated them. They've obviously gained a bit of territory going down the slope. You're saying stay in the game, work as a unit, work as a block of four. When we get chance with set pieces, make sure we take them because we should be dominant. We were sort of doing that. We were moving across the pitch. We were moving up as a block of 8, if you like, the defensive midfield. It's always tough when you're down to 10 men with lads who were carrying a couple of knocks. Having said that, I'm told the first goal, which was a big factor in how the game ended up, wasn't in, but the linesman, to be honest, when he came back to the halfway line, he didn't look too confident in the decision he gave, but ultimately he's give it. And the second goal's a poor goal, poor mistake. You let it bounce. That type of surface, it can check back on itself. It can spin away from you. And Matty's just got to deal with it. Just got to deal with it either at its highest point as it's coming through, or not let it bounce, because if it gets away from you, you're struggling. You can end up chasing the ball. But poor goal, which obviously, as you can tell, it meant the difference for them getting into the playoff positions.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, regards Merv Bennett, we didn't see what he did. We've heard a few things. But do you feel like that situation was caused by the referee in some ways? I mean, we didn't think it was a foul by Jay Harris. It looked to us like he'd poked the ball away.
Yeah,
before. It wasn't even a tackle, really. He'd poked the ball away, then he had a collision with Brendan. But was it the man of the way the referee sort of quickly got his yellow card out to book Jay Harris, and then there was a little bit of... Then everyone sort of piled in then?
Yeah, to be honest, he booked Josh, and there was... He gave a foul against Aaron James. He didn't give a foul for Matty MacDonald. Even their lads were laughing about that one, and I just felt I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was with him today. I don't know. You don't like to, or cast any sort of wonderings about where his loyalties lie, but it certainly he certainly didn't favour us with many decisions that were, that he was given the opposite way for them in similar situations.
And with 10 men in the second half, it was always going to be difficult. It felt like when you got the ball in their half, you didn't have enough bodies there. But I suppose that when you were keeping it at 0-0, you were sort of doing your job. But to then go behind to a goal, we didn't even think it had gone in from where we were. Sort of once they got that goal, it was just a case of they were just passing it around, weren't they? Because they didn't need a second one, they would have been in the playoffs anyway. And it was almost like chasing shadows in some ways, because you just didn't have the manpower or the bodies to get it off them, and they weren't taking any risks.
No, you like you say, you end up finishing. It's a fact. You end up finishing the game. The ideal scenario was not to play Josh, but we had to not to play Matty MacDonald as long as we did. But needs must, and Devan had to come on, and he's probably not 100% right. So, there's a lot that's been disappointing about the season. Ultimately getting relegated is the biggest low for me. This game was more for them than us, and our supporters have travelled again in numbers, and I'm really back the lads, and we've got to make sure now we give them something for next season. We've got to put this season, draw a line under it, because there's nothing we can change. The only thing we can do is make sure that when we do go up again from the NPL, you know, we're up to stay. We're in a better place as a club, better position on the pitch in terms of the squad, and a better position, you know, altogether, because like I say, the fans have deserved more. Some of the criticism that's come my way is being deserved, but certainly shouldn't be any criticism aimed at the chairman, you know, for what he's done for the club over the years, and for what he's put into the club, both financially and personally, in terms of time, energy. You know, no one has any right to criticise whether you pay whatever price it is to buy a ticket. No one has any right to criticise him, or his family for that matter, because, you know, we could be like a lot of clubs who, you know, aren't run in a sustained way, who end up in a mess, and supporters ending up with no club to support, and that'll keep happening. But it won't happen here, because the chairman's got the club in the forefront of his mind, and, you know, anyone who's critical of that, you know, as far as I'm concerned, aren't welcome. But it's, like I say, in terms of my criticism, I'll take it on the chin all day. We haven't been good enough, and I've been the manager of that team. That's not being good enough. There's been reasons, there's been factors in it, but ultimately we've not been good enough. But I can assure people now that next season will be completely different.
It's obviously been a painful few months, but is there a bit of relief now that you've got to the end of the season, there's no more games, and you can focus on the plan to rebuild the squad and the team and the club in some ways? Yeah,
I think I wasn't expecting to feel as deflated as I do now. You know, I had a couple of words with a couple of fans, and a lot of the fans supporting and saying, you know, we'll be back, and stand, you know, apology to a certain fan for something that was said in sort of the heat of the moment, if you like. But the work's already been in place. The work's been in place, and phone calls have been made, and they'll continue to be made. And like I say, you know, I've said it before in an interview. I've never been more determined to get this right and put this season right.
So this, you've touched on it there, but you know, this is more than a professional thing for you now. More than a professional mission. This is a personal mission for you now, isn't it?
100%. You know, this relegation's got my name on it. You know, I've been in relegation battles most of my management career, apart from when I've been at Warrington. I've gone into places to try and put fires out, which most of the time I've done, but I was unable to here, and because the club means that much to me, as I say, it's not other than, you know, a tunnel vision and a single-mindedness to wipe that slate, and you never take it off, because it's always there. But the one thing you do is put it right, and that's going to be what we do.